Hello all, Sean back here to show off some of my knives today. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a video on Mora knives. This is my complete collection I have here. I'm not going to be doing reviews on all of these knives. Uh, Everybody and their dogs have done reviews on Mora knives, and what I wanted to do was just show you my collection specifically, uh, the modifications I do to certain ones to make them better carryable, and how I implement them when I take them out. We'll just go quickly through the ones that I have, starting on this side, kind of working our way this way. So I have three more basic 511s. So these are my three more basics. I definitely don't like these stock. These are awesome knives for the price. I think in Canada they're 22 to $25 depending on what model you get. This isn't the only 511 I have left that's completely stock. This is going to be my son's knife when he's a little older. He's turning 7 this year. I think maybe when he's 10 or 11, I'm going to give him this knife. I did get it a little early, but he's absolutely obsessed with Mario. And when I saw this, I'm not sure if this is a full limited edition or something. I know they do make colors for each year, but I just really like the color scheme for this one because it reminded me of Mario. So I'm going to do some custom things to this. I'm going to put a Mario logo on here, and maybe something around the handle to do with like the green Choppa Choppas, the I can't remember what they're called. The things that come out of the pipes. I want to put like a pipe there with the heads coming out. I don't know, something. I have some old Nintendo Power Books I'm going to cut some stuff out of and then glue it and maybe uh, clear coat it, or I will look into some sort of etching maybe, and it won't be colorful. Like I won't the pictures won't be colored, just be etched onto there. I'm not 100% sure, or I might just leave it as is. This the reason why I haven't done any mods to this one is because as far as a safe knife to use for a younger child, this is great. It's got the big ass finger guard up here, and a nice guard at the bottom. It locks your hand in, and these guards are the main reason why I don't like leaving these knives stock when I get them, because my hand, when I squeeze my hand just a little bit, it's just a little too small, and my finger, it pushes on my finger right there, and it gives me some hot spots. So usually when I do get the Mora basic, I carry one almost every day. This is the one I carry on a regular basis. This is just some silver and gold Sharpie that I put on there to give it some fun stuff, and then I clear coated it because you don't want to clear coat regular Sharpie, that will bleed. But for some reason, the silver and gold Sharpie, whatever they use, it's a different chemical, but you can actually clear coat over silver and gold Sharpie. So if you're into customizing things, that's a good little thing to know. But what I did to these two knives was just cut the guards off, top and bottom, made it more like a traditional puko. I find they're way more comfortable that way. You can have a lot more movement on the hands. You can put them into different positions, and yeah, as somebody who doesn't use these for very rigorous stuff, I don't need to worry about like stabbing and having my finger go onto the blade. So I'd rather have a little more usable of a knife, even though it is a little more dangerous. So this is the main one I carry all the time. I bring this one fishing. That's why it's got a kind of a patina. I don't mind getting it wet. Uh, but this is like, I use this to cut my line all the time. I carry it around my neck. So what I've done to the sheath was I cut the mounting point off. I cut the belt clip off, and then I cut a little indentation right into there, basically just a little semicircle, and then I cranked a zip tie around there. So now, like, that thing isn't going anywhere, and it's pretty much the only way I'm comfortable carrying an upside down Mora on my neck is if I'm modifying the sheath for higher retention, because these definitely retain the knives nicely in an upright position when you're working with gravity, but when you're working against gravity, let's do my stock one right here. All it takes is a little bump or a little jump down a set of stairs to give that enough inertia for it to just fly right out of your the sheath. So if I was going to be jumping up and climbing rocks and stuff, I would even if I was carrying it vertically the right way, I would still put something around there or heat this up and bend it a little more to give it a little more retention. Uh, so yeah, that's also why I love Mora knives so much, because the plastics they use, the polymers, they're nice and soft, so you can use one Mora to cut another Mora. To modify this, I do believe, my companion. And I did it to this knife just because I wanted a backup just in case. This is your standard 511. The cheapest ones you usually find are the red ones with the black, or kind of a brownish red. Or anyways, these are the cheapest models I find are the red ones with the single color handles. So those are my 511s. Then I also have some more craft lines right here. This is the Robust, which I still haven't had a chance to really mess around with yet. But it's a thick boy. I don't know where that's going to go. I kind of went a little crazy buying more knives. I've gotten all of these within the past, let's say, 6 months of my life. So yeah, I've been on a bit of a buying rampage. Being a stay-at-home dad will definitely get you into new things. This is the Pro C, very similar shape to the sorry, I just had my kid ask me a question there. This is the Pro C, exact same blade shape as the Robust, just thinner. Very similar to the Basic, but just a shallower blade, or a deeper blade, I should say. The Basic has a shallower blade. I actually prefer this blade for carving. It's a little more agile. I have yet to really try this blade out, but I will let you know when I get some time on it. But that one was, I think, on sale for $19 on Amazon, and I just couldn't resist. Again, why Moras? I find they're more of an addiction than a tool company. Like I buy them. Oh, I did. My son's using Google. I buy them. 1 second. I tend to buy more knives a lot more, whether I need them or not, just to say that I've gotten that specific one to try it. Similar to, like, if you consider yourself a collector, everybody should try like an Opinel or something. I feel the need to try all of the knives and see where some of them fit in my life, and then because they're Moras, they're cheap. You can almost get all your money back as long as you don't abuse them. Like, I could probably post these on my local Kijiji and get most of my money back for all of these. There's never a person who doesn't want a Mora. Sorry again, I just had to tell my son to turn down his Yoshi's Island music. He's been really getting into Yoshi's Island lately. But yeah, back to the knives. So moving on from the Pro C and then the 511, this is the Mora chisel knife. Again, I bought this on a whim. I'm not really sure where I'm going to use it. I do lots of woodworking, but I have a full set of chisels already, so that's why this hasn't gotten any use, because I usually just bust out my chisels. They're in my carving kit, so I'm still finding a place to use this, but I would say this would be an awesome thing for, like, working in a back room, cutting open boxes and random things, because it's a weird shape. It doesn't really scare people off. It looks a lot more like a tool than a knife, even though it's both. But yeah, just something about the lack of point there really makes it not intimidating, and you could probably have this in a back room like a Target or something, or a Walmart cutting open boxes. Nobody would bat an eye. But yeah, I really want to find a good use for that one. And another thing that's awesome about the Craftline series specifically is that the sheaths are all interchangeable. So, for example, this is my Yakari Puko, or Terava Yakari Puko. Uh, it's the 140, so it's a big ass beast. I can't really use it for that much fine stuff, so I like to carry this little bad boy on it. And again, I heavily modified this one. This is I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, for the life of me, I can't remember the number or name, but it's a very similar blade shape to the Sloyd carving knives that Mora sells, but it's a stainless. And in my opinion, this is a better knife than their carving, even their laminated steel. I don't know if I just got a good example, because the Sandvik 12C27 on this specific blade seems to be nigh indestructible. I have used this one to modify, I think, one of these knives. I can't remember exactly which one, but I hit the blade like when I was carving close to the hilt, like I was carving this, and I hit the blade with this blade, and a chip came out of this blade, and nothing happened to this blade. So I don't. Maybe it's just the carbon steel is a little chippier. I always thought this Sandvik 27 was pretty chippy too, but this has kept its edge even better than the laminated steel one that I have, the 140 or something. Uh, I have sanded down and stained this handle. But yeah, it's thinner, which makes me seem that it should be not as strong. But I don't know if I just got lucky, but I don't know if you could see on this one. I've barely carved with this thing, and I've rolled the edge already, and the edge chipped in one spot. Everybody goes on about Mora's laminated steel, but this is my first interaction with it, and I'm not that crazy about it. If I had to say either between these knives, this is 26, this is 46, I'd get two of these instead. It's thinner, it carves better, it's stainless. I mean, you could probably clean a fish with this pretty easily. It's got a little bit of flex to it. Yeah, hands down, I think my favorite little carving knife to carry around for slightly more intricate things. And again, this is, you can do a lot of things with this other than carving too. Uh, it'd be a great little boat knife. It's a nice fine tip, so you can get into knots and cut things in specific areas. Yeah, purple handle, more Craftline. It's the only one with a purple handle like this. So if you're looking for it, oh god, it's right on the tip of my brain. Craftline. Yeah, it'll come to me probably right after I stop recording. But yeah, I carry this with my on my sort of attached to this. And then if I ever am going into a place where I don't necessarily need a blade like that, I can always put any of my craft lines. If I'm going on a job site and I want to have my Puko, I can just be able to slap it in. So that's why I love these craft line cases. The sheaths are, oh yeah, and that's why I modify that, because it usually gets caught on the zip tie there. But yeah, they're just an awesome so kind of exchangeable knife kit. And then if you lose a sheath or you break a sheath, you could always use from another one. They're not hard to get, and they're very easy to modify. I actually took when I cut, let me just put these all back in here. When I had cut the belt clip off this, I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to throw that out, so I like carrying this attached to another blade sometimes, because this is not that useful of a blade by itself. So I basically just super glued or epoxied uh, the clip off of my Mora Basic onto the sheath of the Sloyd knife, because the dangler, the clip that came with this, it was like it looked like something you'd have on a package in a store. It just didn't look very robust. It was thin plastic and it was coming up there, and it had a little line through so you can feed your belt through. I mean, it didn't break when I was using it, but it wasn't confidence inspiring. As well as this case, I also made it shorter because they include the same size case or sheath with all of the different lengths of knives. You can get a shorter one. This is the medium one. I think you can get a slightly longer one, but they only include this one length. So this sheath looked ridiculous. It was about that long, even though the knife. So I just cut a bit off the middle and then put 2 slits there. Shove the end back through, fed it through, and then put some super glue around there, and it just fits the knife now. It's the perfect size. So if you want to make your sheath a little more unobtrusive, I suggest that mod. Maybe not this. This is not for everybody. I really like it. I do wish I could use the like clip it to the craft line ends now, but I think I super glued that thing. It's not moving anymore, so yeah, that's okay. It still makes a wicked little belt clip, much more secure than the one that was included. Right. Oh yeah, I just wanted to show you again. This one, I had to do a heavy modification for this one. It kind of looks a little goofy now, but it's much more functional. This knife came with the most obscene sized finger guard. So it was the same sized finger guard they put on all these craft lines. So if you can kind of see, like even on the just the standard 511, the finger guard looks a little wonky. It doesn't look too bad on the deeper pro or the robust, but on this it's starting to look a little wonky. And on this tiny blade, it had such a huge finger guard on it, which for the use of the knife, like this is supposed to be a more agile knife, that finger guard was just getting all up in the way. It had to come off. And that made this such a better little carver. I know it looks a little goofy. You can kind of see the rubber underneath. Not a lot of people like to do that to their new blades, but I would rather have a more useful blade look a little wonky than a prettier blade that gets in its own way. I'm a function over form kind of guy myself, as you can see by my haphazard ways of attaching things. I also use that just so there's more visibility. If I throw it down, this was like pretty much the brightest thing on it, so at least I'll be able to see it. Moving on to my companions. So this was the very first Mora knife I got. I got this, and then I got my first 511, and then after that, every time I saw them on sale or a cheap price, I would pick one up. I bought these all separately, probably 2 weeks apart, and it doesn't take long to start getting a collection that far outweighs your needs. But I definitely don't mind having too many of a tool, especially tools that I enjoy. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best Mora you could get, period. The handle's comfier. The finger guards are not as obtrusive. The only mods I did to this one was put a little sharpener's choil just right at the bottom there, so I can avoid getting a bit of a recurve to my blade, and then put a stupid little last resort compass on the bottom, because I had this compass just sitting around. It works, but it's definitely not something I will want to depend on in a life or death situation. I use this as more of a companion compass, just to see if I'm messing it. Like if something's messing with a compass, I use it. 2 readings is better than 1. So yeah, not that I ever really use a compass that often, or ever. And I wrapped some paracord around this thing. I put some Ranger bands on it just to give it a little more utility. I can slide stuff in there. I can mount other knives. Like this is another reason why I like this clip on my my traditional Mora carving knife here. I can put that in there, slide another one back there, and that thing is just going to be attached, and then I can clip that onto my belt and have sort of a dual purpose knife carry. And even funnier is what you can do when you have a bunch of these. I would love to see somebody actually walk around with this kind of setup on their belt. It makes me giggle. But it makes it easy for me to store these and have them all together. And if I want to hang it up downstairs or something, keep them out of the bags. I mostly keep my spare knives in bags. But yeah, that's put that to your belt. You got a nice little choo-choo train of Mora knives there, and you can look like an idiot, just like they intended you to. I get what they're going for here, being able to attach two at a time. All in all, it's a great feature, and it's much more functional than the these little button sheaths they put on here. Like I get what they're going here. There's jean buttons that fit into there, and you just push it on, but it's not something that's very common in North American jeans, at least the stuff that I wear. So I never use these. And I always thought it was silly to put these on and not put like a little button on the front of these, the same as this. I mean, I can if I really wanted to. Probably. Maybe get that in there. I remember doing it before. Maybe I had it on my broken in one. I definitely did it before. Can't do it right now on camera. Anyways, yeah, isn't that wonderful? You can have a Mora for everybody in the office, all on your belt. So yeah, moving on. The companions. So I have 3 companions. One of them, this fucking fly is killing me here. Just keeps landing on me, bugging me. I got the companion HD in carbon on my Scrama, and then I have companion HD in stainless, which I have never used. I bought this, it was on Amazon for $10 off. I couldn't resist. It was $19.99 for a companion HD in stainless. A hell of a deal. I think they're usually $32 or something, regular price. So again, I couldn't say no. So now it's here, and I guess I'll find a use for it eventually. I mean, it's better to have too much than not enough, right? Right. And then my original Mora, which this one has gotten a lot of use. I've put a slight Scandivex on it, unintentionally, but I really enjoy it. I'm just a little sloppy with my stones lately, and it's not my skill level. It's my stones. They're all dished out, and I refuse to level out my stones right now. So it's just they're so dished, and there's so much material to take out, and I don't want to do that. I think I'm gonna upgrade my stones to something that's a little less soft, especially now that I'm getting some higher quality knives with some higher quality steels. I can only imagine how hard it's going to be to sharpen my new Manly in CPM 154, or even my new Joker, which is Bowler K720, hardened up to 63 Rockwell. It's probably a pretty chippy knife, but man, that's a hard steel. As I've never had a knife that hard. I've yet to sharpen it, and I'm gonna have to, because it came with a pretty bad factory grind. It was not that good. I mean, I've seen worse on like Gerber knives and stuff, but for a what was it, $130 knife, I expected a little bit better fit and finish. I'll go over that when I do the review on my Joker knife, which is probably going to be in the next couple days. I've been procrastinating that one because I don't have a lot of time on it, and I hate doing a review where I'm just stumbling and trying to find stuff to talk about it. Again, these aren't really reviews as much as just general knife talk. I really like to talk about knives, and I don't have that many people to talk to, so YouTube it is. Where did I put this over to the side? Covered all of my 511s. Last but not least is probably my Gansball. Gansball. Probably it's my most loved and hated knife as far as Mora goes. Is polarizing, I should say. My most polarized knife, because there's certain things that I love about it, like the compound grind, and I'm not crazy about specifically the compound. I love that they have a full flat grind on here. I was unaware that Mora made a full flat knife up until I saw I think it's the Craftline Flex they sell. Uh, so this was what I got to sort of see what Mora can do with something different other than a Scandi grind. Even though this is kind of still Scandi, it's mostly Scandi, and then there's just this little part of the tip that I'd consider a full flat with a very shallow uh, angle here, bringing them together. But when I got this, I had an idea in my head where I could carve as well as food prep, as well as whittle and be able to split a bit of wood and do some general woodworking, and then use the tip for any of my fine work. But just something about the way this cuts. I don't know if my bevels are off, but I find when I use the tip of this, it just wants to slide all over the place. Like I can't cut it straight for the life of me. And I don't know if anybody else has a cans ball and uses it for food prep. Uh, but the first day I got it, I was trying to cut tomatoes, and I find my knife just wanted to wander. And I don't know if it's because this blade has like the distilled taper here, the taper going down. Uh, maybe the taper just messes with the lines the way it wants to cut through the food. But I mean, I cut through food with taper knives. Well, it's like a lot of my kitchen knives are tapered towards the end like that. I mean, it's not as drastic of a taper there, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need some more time with this knife. Uh, but I do love the utility of it. I love trying to be able to fit two different styles of knives together. But to me, it just doesn't feel right for either. Like you're sacrificing a large chunk of your blade for a different utility, but either both of them aren't doing their job quite well. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna get some more time on this though. I've only carried it maybe about 5 or 6 times, mostly carving wood. With my son when we go to the park, I'll just pick up sticks, and then when he's running around to keep myself occupied from phone scrolling, I'll usually just carve a little face in a stick or something, or just sharpen points. I don't know, anything to sort of just keep me doing something constructive and developing my muscles in my hands for knife skills. Uh, yeah, I'll get some more time on it. I may do a review specifically on this one. The rest, like I mean, there's thousands of reviews on Cant's Ball, but it'd be nice to get if you care about my specific opinion, I can definitely give it. Uh, I love the handle. I love the sheath. I mean, it's one of the few Moras that I'm okay to net carry without doing any modifications to the sheath. I carry this upside down, and I've never had an accidental deployment of this, and I really don't think it will. Uh, Judging by, I'm pretty sure this is meant to carry like that. I know they do sell some sort of sheath accessory that allows you to wrap around there, and maybe that's they expect you to have that if you're going to carry it upside down. But yeah, this is more than enough retention for me. And if you're really worried about it, you could always heat it up and give it a little squeeze to give just a little more retention, because it is retained, I do believe, through these two little notches here, and then there's some notches inside that they meet up with, very similar to the Manly. It's a ambidextrous sheath. That's kind of nice. Think about the lefties too. And it comes with this little belt loop here. Just freaking shitty ass looking leather. I mean, they are a bunching company, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like that leather. It looks like that leather that's made up of a bunch of other pieces of leather all glued together. That's similar to like plywood or the wood that's mostly glue. MDF, I think it's called. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all of my Mora knives. If I could tell you to buy anyone, I would just say buy a companion and be happy with it. Don't end up like me with this many. I'm looking for an excuse to use them now, and you should never. You should like. I think I'm gonna end up giving some of these away because it got to a point where I just have just way too many of them, and this is just my Moras too. Like I have 15 BPS knives and a couple other the Manly knife, Joker. Like I have a couple other off brands, and then axes. I just have entirely too much cutting tools, and I don't know if it's a problem that anybody else has, but once you sort of get into this, it's really easy to justify buying another one when you have 10 of them, and you almost feel like you get that. Once you get to a certain point with Moras, you start treating them like baseball cards, where you need to get all of a set. You need to get every single one, uh, and then when you get into the Craftline series, they do limited edition, limited colors, and then you end up like I almost bought another 511 the other day, the 2021 blue and black or something. It's like a nice seafoam bluey green teal thing. It's a really nice color, but then I just had to take a step back and like I have the 3511s and I only really use one on a regular basis. So I mean maybe 4, 5. That'd be good. One for the drawer, one for your belt, one for the car, and one just for fuck it. I might lose one, a backup one. Uh, if I had to, I'd probably get rid of my companion HDs. I don't really need the thickness. I got robust full tang knives. And I keep my companion, my original companion, this purple one, and probably the 511 companion, one of these, 3, and the cancer ball just for something different. But the rest I could live without, and I may end up living without. I feel like again I have to try out these things before I can make an accurate judgment on whether they're worth your time uh, or even just to have an idea of what's out there. I really like what Mora as a company is doing for the knife community. They're giving you a high quality steel for the most part. It's hit and miss sometimes, like the steel in this Ken's ball. I don't know if I just got a bad heat treat, but this was rolling and chipping a little bit right on my first cut. It could have been just the factory edge. I've yet to put my own edge on it, and on, so that might strengthen up the edge a little bit. But yeah, they put out great steel. They put out very competent designs. And they use materials that seem to last. I was a little skeptical at first with the companion because when I got it, I saw the plastic. I'm like, yeah, nice plastic. And then I felt this rubber, and this kind of over molded rubber. I don't know if anybody has like drills or they do it on kitchen appliances all the time. And if you don't do it right, it will fall apart after 3-4 years. And again, this knife is only a year old, so I've yet to really have it age on me, but I've seen companions much older, uh, or at least apparently much older, that are in the same condition. So I don't know if this over molding is the same stuff they use for all those kitchen appliances, but that was one of those things. As soon as I got this, I'm like, oh no, it's got that butylene kind of over molding that's gonna disintegrate if I touch it with some sort of chemicals. And maybe one day I'll do that. I'll get some chemicals and I will start testing it to see what can degrade this. But so far so good. It hasn't done any of that tackiness. Like when it starts to degrade, it gets really sticky, and then you'd have to like rub off the whole overmolding. I had a couple computer mice that had that stuff on it, and I don't know what Mora's using for this overmolding, but so far so good. So that was the one thing that Mora's sort of, I wasn't sure about the longevity. Everything other than that, like the retention, I have absolutely no qualms that this retention here is solid. Uh, a lot of people like to knock on them because they're not full tang. You are crazy if you think you need a full tang. They've made knives for hundreds, thousands of years, not full tang. It's a waste of steel most of the time for the uses of your knife. And for what these are made for, these are meant to be lightweight, companion blades. It's in the name, companion, that you don't necessarily, you're not necessarily should rock on. I mean, I can split stuff with this. I wouldn't depend my life on it. Maybe the HD, but again, these weren't designed for sticking to a log and standing on. They weren't designed for that heavy use. These are low price, built to a price blades that are going to give you the best possible materials for the best price without the company folding. And Mora seems to be doing a great job with that. The only problem I have with Mora in general is their higher end things, where they end up charging you an extra $100 for what they think a full tang knife should cost, like the Garber. I would love to get one just to play around with, and I would probably immediately sell because I have myriads of full tang knives. But the 140 Canadian dollars coming from like the companion HD, like the 32 Canadian, like an extra $100 for what is probably a little bit extra steel there and then a little bit extra steel there. They're just pricing themselves. Like I get what they're doing. They're trying to give themselves different levels of different tiers. So you don't want giving like putting having an expensive knife like that in your tier gives value to your lower end knives, and it may not seem like it does, but just the perception of it. Like when I look at a companion, I'm like, I got all that for like almost what a Mora Garberg would be. Uh, Sorry, my son's Google just went off there. Yeah, the perception of this knife, you feel like it's a better knife because you got it for such a low price when you can get a knife that's probably $100 more and it only seems maybe 10% better. So it's a marketing trick, but I just wish that they would let that set in, like have that in the beginning. Yeah, you release the Garberg charge and let all the little chickens who want to spend $140 on a full tang Mora, let them spend the money, get your research out of it, get a nice return, and then lower the price to something reasonable so the rest of us can get one. And then yeah, you don't have to go much lower, but like $100, maybe I'd think about one. $140 plus tax though, you got to be kidding. When I can get a companion which is 95% of a Garberg for I don't know 30 bucks, $100 less. So that's my 2 cents on their pricing structure. And if you wanna get an idea, if you like a Garberg, get a Cansball. It's almost the exact same knife shape. The blade's different shape, but as far as the handle and everything, it'll tell you a lot about the Garberg. And you can get a Cansball, a Mora HD, and a Mora Robust, and a 511 for less than the price of a Garberg. So then you get more knives. Then you're gonna end up like me, 30 knives. What the fuck do I do with them? Anyways, this was my little talk on Moras. I love them. That's all I can say. They're great knives. Don't be like me though. Don't get the itch and end up cruising Amazon at 2 in the morning while your wife's not looking for knives that you don't need, and all for a specific color that you want, the limited edition color because you want to collect them like baseball cards. I mean, at least it's a better way to waste your money. If you're gonna waste your money, buying knives ain't a bad way to waste it. You're supporting a company, and these are always gonna be valuable. Not like baseball cards, not like Pokemon cards. Uh, yeah, gotta catch them all. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.